Hi, I'm Rick Kaler. Thanks for joining me. Retiring on $1 million. The idea might evoke images of lavish retirement homes, luxurious travel, sitting by the pool sipping your favorite drink. But let's take a closer look at the real lifestyle that $1 million of retirement savings will afford. It's reasonable to assume that a long-term real return, that's after adjusting for inflation, would be 2% on a diversified investment portfolio. So at that rate, $1 million would provide an annual income in today's dollars of $44,650 for 30 years. Now, this leaves no cushion for emergencies or increased living expenses beyond inflation. It also leaves nothing after 30 years to pass on to heirs. If you're single and age 65 with $1 million, you should be okay for 30 years. But what if you're married? While the adage that two can live as cheaply as one has some relevance when it comes to housing, it doesn't apply to food, clothing, transportation, health care, or entertainment. If a third of our cost of living is housing, it would be reasonable to conclude a couple would need an income of around $75,000 to enjoy the same lifestyle as a single person living on that approximately $45,000. A couple with $1 million, then, only has 16 years of retirement income. If they retired at age 65, that only assures both of them enough money until age 81. That means a high probability at least one spouse is going to run out of money in their latter years. This does not pass for good financial planning. And how about a couple that, much more typically, has saved less than $1 million? Let's say a portfolio of $500,000. Well, they will run out of money in 8 years. How can the average baby boomer who has not saved $1 million or more have a decent standard of living in retirement? It requires thinking out of the box. So here are a couple of possibilities that I've come up with. First, retire later. Well, this is the plan of most boomers. If you are able to keep working past 65 or 66, even 2 or 3 years of earnings can make a big difference in your retirement lifestyle. So obviously, the later you can work, the better. The problem, as I mentioned in the past, is that only 19% of people can either find a job after 65 or are physically able of working. And that's a big problem to overcome. Number 2 would be to downsize earlier. Look at whether reducing housing costs before retirement can free up additional monies to invest and help stretch your retirement nest egg. Plus, it'll be helpful when you do hit retirement. 3, make conscious choices about where to retire. An income of $44,650 might give one person a reasonable standard of living in many areas in the U.S., but it's not going to provide much of a lifestyle in New York City or Washington, D.C. Retiring outside the U.S., that can make an even bigger difference. For example, many people in Rapid City retire to a warmer climate like Arizona. According to a November 9th, 2017 article in International Living, the average cost of living in Phoenix, Arizona is $44,843 per person. So the single can get off reasonably well in Arizona. But a couple retiring to Boquete, Panama could rent a furnished 2-bedroom apartment, pay for health care, entertainment, groceries, utilities, transportation on just over $20,000 a year. That's a couple. Where's Boquete? Boquete's a small town in the highlands, which International Living describes as a, retirement haven for expats looking for a simpler lifestyle where English is commonly spoken. The impact of this reduction in living expenses is nothing short of staggering. If you have $1 million, you can afford trips back to the U.S. to see family. You'll have plenty of cushion for emergencies, and you can leave something to your heirs. Now that is something you just can't obtain even as a single in the U.S. on $1 million. If you have $500,000, living in Panama will give a couple 35 years of income. $400,000 is good for 26 years, and $300,000 gets the two of you 18 years. Now, not everyone would consider international retirement, but everyone would be wise to consider the reality of what income their retirement nest egg can provide. And location is a big deal. Thanks for listening.